What up? This is Rama Screen, and it's time for another celeb interview. And in the anticipation of Triggered, which arrives on demand and digital November 6th, I'm here talking with the director of this new movie, Alastair Orr. How are you, Alastair?
Hey, very well, and you? That's the first time I've been called a celebrity, so I appreciate that. Thank you. I want to make
Nope.
sure my mom catches it.
No problem. Thank you for taking the time. So, you are no stranger to the horror genre. You've directed several horror movies prior to this one. So, what was it about David's script that made you say, yes, this is what I want to do next?
Myself and my producing partner got the script, and we just realized no one else is going to make this movie. It's just too wild. It's too wacky.
Hmm.
No one's going to touch this. That's why we have to do it. We're the only
Oh,
ones that will be brave enough to do this. So that's what we loved about it, and that's what we were looking for. I was also looking for something a little bit different. In all my other films, there's a supernatural element, there's a big monster, and in this, the biggest monster is man himself, and that's what I thought was cool for me. It was to stretch my legs a little bit in a different direction.
and another thing that's cool about the film, in my opinion, is that when you see other movies like it, like Saw or whatever, they're complete strangers. Whereas this one, they actually know each other. They have history. There's a context, especially when Peterson comes in. What's the significance of that?
Well, I mean, if I don't know you and you don't know me, and if we woke up in a room together with bombs strapped to ourselves and we were told to kill each other, I think you would come for me, or I'd be tempted to go for you pretty quickly. I thought it's just more dramatic and more interesting if there's big conflict, and a personal history between the two people or the nine people. I just thought it made for, it opens the doorway for a lot more humor, a lot more tension, a lot more drama. I thought it was a no brainer. I can't believe the Saw movies never ever did that.
Awesome. And what were the challenges of shooting this film entirely at night and out in the woods? And did that mess with everybody's body clock since you'd have to end up making up for the loss of sleep hours during the day?
Yeah, and we shot during a hot summer, so the days were incredibly hot. So it was like to sleep during a heat wave is intense. Yes, you start off and it's exciting and it's something different and everyone's enthusiastic. But as the nights go on, you start getting brain drain, and you start moving slower and slower, and if you're not with the right team, they start getting more cranky and irritable. The jokes don't go down as funny between, like on day one, everyone's got banter and everyone's chirping each other. And, you know, day five, everyone's like, oh my God, what are we doing? This is, this is intense. So it took a special bunch of people that we that are still able to talk to each other after going through what we went through on Triggered.
Speaking of a bunch of special people, so talk to me about the casting because this is a group of excellent young South African actors. And Sean Cameron Michael told me the other day that you reached out to him and really wanted him to play the role of Peterson. Was that the same case with the
Mm.
rest of the cast, or was there a general audition that they had to went through?
Yeah, so I was able to fill up about four of the 12 roles
Hmm.
with people that I had my eye on. Like I thought these are people that that could do this. Sean was pretty much the only guy we had in mind for Peterson. I'd seen him, I'd followed his career and looked up to him for so long. We just had to get him. Like it would have been a nightmare if we couldn't get him. Raina, who plays Ryan, I was a big fan of hers. She'd done it's a small horror community in South Africa. So like the people who are interested in horror, we know each other, or we know of each other. So Raina, I approached. Um, Cameron, who plays PJ, I approached, and Stephen, who plays Ezra, I approached. We got very lucky with Stephen. He was working at a casting agency at the time, and he was auditioning for a whole bunch of he was getting auditions in for a lot of TV shows and movies that were being shot down in Cape Town, and he was able to pass on some of those tapes to us, and we're able to cast the film that way as well. And then a few of the characters or the actors came from friends of friends. Someone said, "Hey, I know somebody who could do this. Can we get him to be on tape?" And we were like, "Yeah, that's awesome. Let's do it."
I gotta ask though about the bomb vest. Oh my god! Of course, the main star of the film. What were your process of coming up with the design for the bomb vest, and did it always come with the countdown timer, or was that done in the post?
It's funny that you call the bomb vest the biggest star in the film, because they were definitely the biggest diva on set. You know, they were the ones that wouldn't perform when required and always had these ridiculous demands. Um, we got a cosplayer in Florida to design the vests. Um, but he designed it obviously for, cosplay conventions and catwalks and that kind of thing. So aesthetically it looked nice, but it wasn't very durable, it wasn't very strong.
Mm.
So when they came down to South Africa, we kind of approached it in a way of like, well, what would Peterson do? And we kind of just galvanized it and built it ourselves a little bit to make it stronger. um, the timers, we knew very early on that we weren't going to be able to shoot the timers on set. I mean, if a character's performance changed by 2 seconds, in one take from the other, it would throw the entire film off, and we'd end up having to replace that timer anyway. So all the timers were done in post. So there were about 1,800 shots that we needed to comp those timers in and track them in. And sometimes there were 9 characters on set on in the shot. So it was a mammoth job. It took us about 10 months full time tracking those timers.
Wow, that is impressive. Did you guys get to take some of them home for souvenir afterwards?
Well, nobody on the set wants to see those things ever again. We've got them locked away in a cupboard somewhere. They are probably rotting. They deserve to rot in hell. Like, we never want to see them again. They cause so much trouble for us that, yeah, we want to vomit every time we think about them.
On one hand, Triggered has this theme of when push comes to shove, does humanity or mankind lean towards their selfish tendencies? But there's also this other theme of mostly what Peterson represents. How it's much easier to pass my anger or my blame and my judgment on someone else rather than letting go. What do you think is the thing that this movie tries to convey?
What was a big idea for us was, it's like, how quickly would, people's social masks and tendencies disappear if they were actually forced into a fight or flight situation. Today with social media and stuff, images, everything, but you're getting play pretend stuff. This is not, what you see on Instagram isn't real. If you follow this person and that person, and they'll follow social issues because it's trendy. But like, if that person was like if a vegetarian was like thrown into an island where there's only rabbits to eat, how long is he going to stay a vegetarian for? They're going to change quickly, and that's what we kind of did with the millennial angle. These guys are so superficial. How quickly will those things disappear in front of their friends?
Mhm. Thank you for sharing that. And finally, what do you have coming up next on your horizon? And will you be able to work those projects through this pandemic?
So we were going to shoot a movie. We were in heavy pre-production on a movie before the pandemic hit, and then the pandemic, it obviously changed everything. And now there's been a bit of shift with development executives and all of that kind of stuff. So, like, the scripts that were ready to go 6 months ago are now being reworked. But we're hoping to get things up and running pretty soon. Like you say, my previous films were all very, very much horror films, and Triggered is like my little segue into action films. So it's more of an action film, and I'm hoping that we shoot it soon. Obviously, it needs to be safe, but it's something that we're doing with the same Triggered team, and we're also doing it in South Africa. So it's hopefully Triggered does really well, and people are looking forward to what's coming next.
All right. For my fans at home, everybody go check out Triggered, which arrives on demand and digital November 6th. Alistair, thank you for talking to me and congratulations on the film, sir.
Thank you so much. Have a good day.